Okay, so we are down to the last 3 of the methods that I would like to discuss in this video. Number 1, unschooling. What does that even mean? Unschooling is an unconventional method, and it was brought into light by the homeschooling pioneer John Holt, and it is individualistic, it is child-centered, it teaches that you can trust the child to learn. However, unschooling is more preferable for the type of parent who is excited about learning themselves, who is willing to learn with their child, who is willing to give reins to their child according to their interest. That does not mean that you're not going to teach English or math from the textbooks or from resources where they can step by step increase in their ability of learning that subject, but you will give them time, you will give them resources, and you will trust that the child will learn, right? Also, in schools we rely on experts who tell us, I know, and I'm going to give you the answers of this. In unschooling, you let the child say, I am learning, I'm exploring, I'm understanding, and their pace might be very fast or slower. However, it is always child-centered. It is always allowing the child's natural curiosity to help them understand and become lifelong learners. And one of the books that helped me in my journey of, I'm not an unschooler, but some days I do feel like an unschooler actually. The Unschooling Handbook, how to use the whole world as your child's classroom. This is one of the books, and there's another interesting book, which I'll tell you about if I don't forget. And it says that unschoolers realize that different people learn different subjects at different times, and they do not judge individuals based on how smart they are or what grades they are in. A group of homeschool kids will assume that not every 7-year-old reads, yet that some are great fort builders. Most will naturally make allowances in their play and they will have widely different skills. Unschoolers, because they learn how to evaluate ideas from a variety of sources, are usually less likely to automatically accept someone else's word as a fact. They're critical thinkers who look for consistency and sense in what they hear and read. So unschoolers are basically saying that we allow our children to think for themselves rather than giving them commands and giving them already researched information. We are giving them the freedom to do the research and come to the same or different conclusions. That is what the unschooling parent is basically saying over here. And there was and how would an unschooler's day look like? It was interesting that on day-to-day basis, you are teaching them the subjects, you are teaching them alphabets. If you start, and unschoolers say that it's much easier to be an unschooler from the very start, from the very beginning, when the child has not even stepped into a classroom, when the child is free of all those structured, boundary, watered down systems where they have to, where the mind is trained to be subservient to the authority. Now that sounds as if you're telling your child to be very strong-headed and disobedient in some sense, not to listen. No, that's not what unschooling is about. Unschooling is about giving them structure, but not giving them but not pushing them into saying, you have to finish this, you have to complete this. You give them time, you give them a few days, in fact, to complete a certain chapter, to complete the certain concept. You will see when you will learn about the unschooling system. And why do I say that this was one of the most intriguing philosophies in my homeschooling learning journey, understanding journey, because it freed me from this fear that how do I know that what I'm teaching my children is enough. And the thing is, learning is constantly happening at all times. Whether there's chaos around you or whether there's calm around you, learning is happening. And because we come from a very structured schooling system ourselves as parents, we believe that, or we have this idea in our brains, in our heads, that this is exactly how it should look even when it is at home. And so do study this this philosophy of unschooling. It actually helps you a lot. And maybe you won't be an unschooler, like I'm not an unschooler, but you would learn a lot, and you would learn to relax and trust yourself as parents and trust your children as smart, intelligent human beings capable of learning. Now let's do this other methodology, and that methodology is school at home. So I purposely chose unschooling, and then I purposely chose school at home. School at home is the polar opposite of unschooling. It's a complete curriculum package, like a K-12 package, or maybe you are living in a state that allows you to have your child at home, but they are supposed to be registered with the schooling system. They're supposed to have online classes with the teachers in the public school system, and they spend their day almost like as if they are at school, right? So you will have to work according to the school schedule. You will have to work all those 8 hours. Probably you will have to complete the entire amount of homework. You'll have to complete all those textbooks that are given, and it's not student-centered. But it is for those parents who really feel that they can give that much amount of time, and that can spend that much amount of energy completing work for the sake of saying that, like in a school, I completed a whole unit study and it's tick marked and it has test scores on it, and I passed that. So yeah, for some people it works for some people. I personally am this one, the eclectic educator, and I like the eclectic method of education. Why? Because maybe I'm a teacher in my training and profession, and I am able to feel a bit more confident and relaxed about what I'm choosing to teach. Also, it's child-derived. One more time, it's child-derived. It's resourceful, and it's non-curriculum based. What does that mean? It means that I'm not committed to only Charlotte Mason method or the classical method or the unschooling method or the school method or any other method that's a Montessori method. I can pick and choose from each one of them whenever required and however required, so that I can see my child fulfilled in their learning journey. Eclectic method is for homeschoolers who are long-term in a sense that they have gone through the early stages of early childhood. They have gone through the preschool, the elementary school system, and they're entering into middle grade school or high school. And so there are so many resources out there. You can even be, for example, what does eclectic homeschoolers day look like? They can be doing the Charlotte Mason method of reading and copy work. And they can be doing the classical method of training of grammar, logic, and rhetoric in their Quran studies and in their memorization part. And then they can be doing their eclectic method in the various forms and where they're getting their science information. For example, they can have a lot of textbooks or a lot of books basically written by scientists and teachers and research magazines, and they can be collecting information on the same topic from different resources and learning from them, right? So that's how an eclectic method looks like. And I think this was the end of Erin bin Safia at Parenting Uncomplicated, discussing the methods of homeschooling. In the next video, I would give you a brief view of my eclectic way of the books that I probably use day to day and the schedule system. How would you schedule your day. If you are in the early stages of homeschooling, for example, in the early childhood, you have children all under the age of, let's say, 10, and you have multiple children of all these stages. How would you schedule your day? And then if you have middle schoolers, if you have high schoolers. So let's do that in our next video.